So I made a video a couple days ago that was going over the flaws of Jin's character in Tekken 8, and people seem to enjoy that video. They liked it quite a bit, so that's neat. And in the comments of that video, someone asked me if I could do the same thing for Jun Kazama, because she's a piece of shit, basically. That's almost word for word what they were saying. And I thought, yeah, sure, why not? That sounds baller, son. Let's do it. So here we are, and that's this video. That's the video you're watching right now. Now, as of right now, I don't intend on making this a video series or anything. A video series made entirely just to shit on characters just seems very negative to me, and not necessarily something I want to do. I mean, fuck, what kind of miserable bastard would want to do that? But what the hell? I can fall victim to peer pressure just like anybody else, because I am a man of the people. So what are the major flaws of Jun's character in the Tekken series? Well, really, there aren't flaws. There's just flaw. There's one. But it is pretty goddamn consistent and shows its ugly face in literally every single scene that Jun shows up in. So I'd say it's actually a pretty big one, and one they really need to address if they're going to bring Jun back into the series in Tekken 9. So let's start with Jun's story. Jun is introduced in Tekken 2 as an officer at this wildlife facility where she protects animals and shit. And she heard about this total asshole who created a massive smuggling operation involving millions and millions of endangered animals. And she's like, hey, let's stop that shit. And what a absolute fucking coinkydink. This motherfucker was setting up a fighting tournament, and good old Jun here just happens to be a master martial artist. I mean, just how lucky can you get? So she joins the tournament in an attempt to stop this horrific crime from continuing. Her sheer will and determination to push this goal forward lasts for about 5 seconds, until it smacks face first into the brick wall that is that sweet, sweet Kazuya D. Jun's got it out for them bad boys. But I'm not judging, we all gotta get ours. And she most certainly does. Now, Kazi eventually decides to go on a father-son volcano spelunking trip and never comes back. But Kazi's no bastard just leaving Jun behind with nothing to show for it. And while he may not be a bastard, the gift he left her certainly was. So she raises Jin in a cabin in the forest like a bunch of goddamn hippies for about 17 years, until Space Shrek shows up and puts a boot in that ass. In Jun's quote-unquote dying words, she tells Jin to go see his grandfather. He can help put him on the right path and guide him towards, I don't know, something. And she kind of, sort of, not really, but in a way dies. And we don't see her for like a really long time. Like a stupid long time. She basically goes in this really weird, unexplained coma cocoon thing. And then she comes out as a force ghost to help Jin in his time of need. And it's like a whole thing. And that's Jun's entire story across the whole Tekken series. So what's her flaw? Well, her character doesn't make any goddamn sense. I don't understand what this bitch is thinking like 90% of the time. Okay, so you introduce this character as the end-all be-all of purity and goodness. Like, that's how she's set up. Her literal power is purification that she can use to expunge evil. Okay, cool. And she's introduced in Tekken 2 with the whole point of stopping a mass animal smuggler. Alright, also cool. So far I get it. Little hippie-ish, but whatever, I can get behind it. But after that point, none of her fucking decisions make sense. The story all the way up until Tekken 8 keeps trying to claim that she is this purely good character. But if that was the case, why the hell is she fucking Kazuya? You can't even say that she was ignorant of his crimes. Kazuya's crimes in Tekken 2 were smuggling millions of endangered animals, then experimenting on them to create soldiers, so that when he inevitably goes to war with the world and runs out of human troops, he'll have more people to throw at the front lines. Just think about that for a minute. His plan is to set up for a war that he plans on causing that will cause so many deaths to human beings that he will run out of human beings to send to war. That's his fucking plan. This is the guy that this pure woman falls in love with. Go ahead, make it make sense. I fucking dare you. I just don't see how you could try to sell Jun as a purely good character when her story involves allowing the literal devil to just leave it all in there. Tekken 2's story straight up says that she knows exactly what Kazi was doing. By her getting with Kazi, it means she has absolutely no convictions to the thing she's devoted her life to, which is to save animals and wildlife and shit like that. Nature. You know, fucking trees and shit. Kazi is literally a corruption upon the world. This is a weird fucking decision for her to make. In Tekken 8, you find out that while she was in this coma, she could actually see what was going on outside in the world, and she knows about all the events that happened since she's been gone. So she's aware of all the evil shit that Kazuya and Jin have done. Despite that, during her character ending, which seems to be canon by the way, her desire is to get her family back together and to live as a happy, cohesive unit, basically. Does nobody else see how fucking nuts this is? In Tekken 8, Kazuya literally announces to the entire world he's gonna start blowing up countries for the fuck of it. And this chick is so down bad, she's just cool with that shit? Why? It's inherently contradictory to her character. This isn't even the only contradictory decision she makes. In Tekken 3, right before she dies, she sends Jin Jin to meet up with Heihachi. Now, the game never says why she tells him this or what she expects by sending him over there, but does she not know that Heihachi is evil as fuck? I want to know exactly what information she knew and did not know. As ridiculous as it is, Kazuya became the love of her life. Okay, fine. Whatever. So you're gonna send your son to go meet up with the guy who killed his father and the love of your life? Did she ever even meet Heihachi? What does she know about this family? What was she expecting by sending Jin to Heihachi? By sending Jin to Heihachi, she pretty much guaranteed that whatever life her son led from that point on was gonna be completely fucked up. This is not a healthy family. Anyone who meets Heihachi for 5 fucking seconds knows exactly what this man's deal is. He is not a secretive or manipulative type character. He's very outward with his horribleness. Jun as a character in the Tekken series is written inconsistently, stupid, naive, gullible, and worst of all, lacks any kind of conviction to any of her beliefs. Now, I don't care that a character has flaws. Flaws are fine. You can have terrible characters. You can have evil characters. You can have piece of shit, fucking cowardly, lying, backstabbing, bastard type character. You can have any fucking character you want to have in a story. It's perfectly okay. But as I had already kind of touched on in my Invincible video, there's a difference between writing a character that has flaws, that the writer is aware of those flaws, and one that isn't. And in the Tekken series, whoever it is who's been writing Jun's character all this time has no fucking idea of any of the flaws that her character has. To this day, they still try to sell her as this symbol of purity and goodness. And she's not. Look, just as a general rule of thumb, if you let the devil come in you, you're probably not the best person. Now, I'll say one of the benefits to her character is that we don't actually get to see any of this happen on screen. And with good enough writing, it's more than possible to have your story in the future laid out in a way that makes all of these decisions that she's made believable and make sense. But I'll tell you this much, that is a tall order. And as of right now, she just seems like a fucking nut. Seriously, I mean, she's really delusional and kind of a traitor to her own cause. She's like a lady simp. Is there a word for a lady simp? She's a lady simp. Now, if you were to ask me how I would fix this error in her writing, I would say lean into the flaws. Don't write Tekken 9 and try to pretend like all of these issues don't exist. Let the game point out that Jun kind of did turn her back on her beliefs for Kazuya. Maybe she really cared about Kazuya and really fell in love with him, and this kind of corrupted her a little bit. Perhaps Jun does have the power to purify the evil power out of Kazuya's soul, but that doesn't mean she can purify the evil out of his heart. And perhaps maybe while she was trying to help him, he was actually corrupting her. Her love for him made her lose conviction for her original goal, and this love allowed her to make concessions in her own beliefs. Harada has said that Tekken 8 is the end of the Jin and Kazuya rivalry, but both of the characters are still around, so clearly something has to happen. And I think it would just straight up be a bad idea to make Kazuya a good guy. He is way too far gone to have that happen. But having him stay in the story not as the main villain, but as this corrupting force that has this ability to get other people onto his side, even without the devil gene, could be a really interesting story direction. What does Jin do when his mother, the person in his mind who is the most pure heavenly being that he's ever met, is corrupted by his greatest enemy and his father? This would keep the family dynamic continuing and still make the story about the family drama between the Mishimas. The story would not be about two men just trying to beat each other up because they hate each other. It would actually be them fighting over the soul of this woman who they both love, with Jin trying to save her and Kazuya, this guy who he believes was now defenseless, finding a whole new way to fuck with him. It would give all three characters in this family something to do, as all of them would be fighting for their version of the family that they want. Jin wanting to save his mother so he could be with her again, Kazuya wanting Jun, the only woman he's ever fallen in love with, and Jun wanting her whole family back, but that not really being possible, so she would basically be conflicted between what side she would have to choose. Now, what side she ends up choosing by the end of the storyline is up in the air. You can have her successfully fight off the corruption or inevitably get corrupted by Kazuya. Either one will work perfectly fine. On top of that, it would be kind of a natural next step for Jin's evolution. For almost all of Jin's storyline, we've seen him fight against the devil gene. The thing he wanted to eliminate from the planet was the devil gene. Now that he's capable of purifying it from existence, in his mind, he's kind of done. He did what he needed to do. Coming to the realization in Tekken 9 that even without the devil gene, Kazuya and other people in the story are just as dangerous and just as evil without this supernatural corrupting force could be an interesting next step for his character depending on what they do with it. I've said before that I think it's dumb that Jin left Kazuya alive at the end of Tekken 8. The idea that just because he doesn't have the devil gene anymore, you can leave this guy who's easily the most dangerous person on the planet alive and well. I mean, he's still in control of G Corporation. He's still evil as fuck. I really see no reason why you would just leave him there. But a fix to that problem that you could do in Tekken 9 is to essentially write Jin as if he saw the devil gene as his sole target, and once it was dealt with, that was that. You'd explain away what I basically consider to be one of the dumbest decisions Jin's ever made in the whole series. Now, is that the best story direction for Tekken 9 to go down? Probably not. But as far as Jun's character is concerned and what path she will go down personally, I think it works out a lot better than just ignoring all of her flaws in the past and pretending like they didn't happen. And it would work pretty well as a B-plot running side by side with whatever it is they're going to be doing with Reina in Tekken 9, or as a canon character story. Canon being the most important word in that sentence. Yeah, we don't do that non-canon bullshit here. Anyway, that's going to be all from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to like, subscribe, hit the little bell icon, because you won't get notifications if you don't hit the bell icon. And y'all be safe out there, you hear?